Hey everyone, okay, so this is Ziki here, hoping that you're all doing very well wherever you are. Now, a few days ago, I shared with you what was happening in Namibia, where EFF, were protesting in Chinatown, and they were closing down all shops belonging to Chinese. Soon after that, that protest that happened, we saw that some people were arrested, but most of the people who were arrested were released, except for the leaders of the protest, that is Michael and his colleagues. So they are still in custody, and we have seen that over the past 2-3 days there have been some bail hearing. The first one was denied, and again yesterday we saw their lawyers making some more submissions, and so today is another day of hearing to see if they're going to be granted bail. But a lot has been happening in Namibia. The people who are outside, including Michael's wife, have been leading in continuing with their struggle per se. And also we saw something of the similar sort happening again in Swaziland, where EFF Swaziland, at one time they wanted to go and do a cleanup campaign, and they were stopped from doing it by the police. So a lot of things are happening. But before I go any further, let's just listen to what the lawyers said yesterday pertaining to the bail hearing of EFF leaders.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming today once again. Well, today's update is very clear and concise. We managed to finalize our submissions and motivate why we think our clients, being Amusherero and Nauyoma, should be granted bail. Together with my junior colleague, Mr. Mata, we managed to put up a fight and make our submissions known, both orally and in writing. Our job is basically done. What we now anticipate are the submissions of the state, which will be delivered tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Yes. We share your frustration. We sympathize with it because we feel it as well. But the nature of judicial proceedings is such that it's quite slow.
So we heard what they said, so we're going to be following on the story to see if the two are going to be granted bail. Okay, now moving to South Africa again, we saw that when we continue with the issue of foreigners in South Africa, there are some reports, from the Ministry of Health in South Africa that were saying that they are conducting a research and investigations toward reports that were circulating on social media that more than half of patients being admitted in South African hospitals are foreigners, especially the undocumented foreigners. So the minister said they are doing their researches and investigations so that they can come out with a comprehensive report. Also, we saw that earlier on they say that South Africa is having shortages of medical doctors, whereby they are now working at a ratio of 1:1,000. So which means it's just too much. One doctor per 1,000 patients is just overwhelming the doctors that are there. Okay. Also, we moved to Zambia. In Zambia, we saw that President H.H. Hakainde Hichilema said that when he got into power, he called on all the officials from the previous government to surrender all the items they think they acquired illegally or not in proper ways, and they also told them to return the money and everything. Now that he said no one really came out to return the money or the assets that they stole, so he came out to say that he was now putting matters into their own hands, and they're going to arrest them and take that money whether they like it or not. That story is really interesting. We want to see how that is going to happen. Still in Zambia, we saw again that there's a report saying in 2018 a Chinese company was given a contract to build a university in some province in Zambia, but it was shocking and surprising to the public to find that there is no construction that has been taking place. They only dug a very small foundation, and they disappeared. And the question is, what happened to the money that they were paid by the previous government to construct this university? Were they ever paid that money? Is something that everybody is really surprised that after all this time from 2018 up until 2022, nothing has been done. There was no follow-up. There is nothing, and the ground is just there is nothing there. Okay. And people are asking, how come all these years not even the relevant ministries to go and check on how the project was going? A lot of people have been asking, like, so how come? How can we say we have paid a contractor to do such a big project of building a university and then they disappear? There is nothing being done and nothing for how many years? From 2018. These are some of the issues that we are facing in our region in SADC, and as long as these problems are not, dealt with accordingly, this kind of corruption is not dealt with accordingly, we're going to see more people still suffering from poverty, because those people meant, to govern, those people meant to lead, they are playing some games which the general public, we are failing to understand. In Zimbabwe, we saw, prices, they're going up every day of basic commodities, and we saw the government announcing that they were lifting, they're going to make it easy for people to bring in goods from outside. I'm talking of cooking oil, sugar, rice, or some of those basic goods. They say they're now going to make it easier for people to bring them into the country. This again going to show that things are not really well in Zimbabwe, and these are some of the highlights of the stories that we are having, but I'm going to come back again with more detailed stories. Until then, subscribe and stay.